these people that make these policies, they work for you. You don't work for them, and it's not okay for you to hear gunshots and think that that's okay.
Weska's sister Lily O'Brien and his family, through this video provided by the FOP, let their frustrations be known and signaled why they asked Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker to stay away from the mass.
Chicago needs to step up and hold the people who make these policies that allow third, fourth, five chances to people that have made so many mistakes, and then they turn around and they murder innocent people.
The mayor planned to attend the funeral, but after calls directly to him explaining the family's wishes, an hour before the funeral, he changed his mind.
My God.
Mr. Mayor!
Hey, Mayor!
Mayor, will you please wait?
Mayor,
Mr. Mayor! Mr. Mayor, why do you have to run from us?
Mayor, we
why
just
do
want
you
to
have
comment
to run
about
from
the
us,
arrest
Mr.
last
Mayor?
night in relation to Officer Weska. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, why would you run from us?
He just ran.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about an absolutely embarrassing, shameful story out of Chicago. It really is a sad story involving Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who is catching a whole lot of heat and backlash for endorsing soft on crime policies that has cost innocent civilians and police officers their lives. Like, for example, when it comes to this recent murder of Chicago police officer Luis Huesca, who unfortunately lost his life after coming home from work as a young scholar hijacked his vehicle and then shot him in the face, okay, and took the vehicle and left. Now, this young scholar by the name of Xavier Tate Jr. was on a run for about a week or so until he was finally caught by the authorities after being placed on the FBI's most wanted list.
Judy, while Xavier Tate Jr. had already been charged with the murder of Officer Luis Huesca even before his arrest, just now we are getting news of additional charges that are being filed against him, including carjacking and possession of a stolen weapon. A 10-day manhunt ended last night with Xavier Tate Jr. sitting quietly in the back of a squad car in Glendale Heights. The 22-year-old, believed to be responsible for the murder of Officer Luis Huesca, was taken into custody shortly after 7 p.m. Dozens of police descending on this apartment complex and its unsuspecting residents.
I just, stayed in my apartment. I was actually afraid, if shots would be ringing out or anything.
And while some remember seeing Tate in the building, it is not believed he lived there.
Honestly, I've seen him in the hallway a couple times, then I know his cousin.
The 22-year-old was taken into custody by Chicago police, along with members of the U.S. Marshals Great Lakes Regional Task Force, using, we are told, Officer Huesca's handcuffs.
All of us are breathing a little bit easier because that individual took someone's life.
Speaking to us just steps from where Huesca was shot and killed on April 21st, Father Matt Foley has been checking in regularly with the fallen officer's family.
Last night we were actually praying here for honoring him.
Having zeroed in on him early on, police have been closing in on Tate for several days now, tracking his movements and phone usage. Just hours after issuing an arrest warrant for him, officers arrested a relative of Tate's at a home near 108th Street and Hale in Morgan Park, after he was observed attempting to dispose of what turned out to be Officer Huesca's service weapon. Today in Springfield, Police Superintendent Larry Snelling joined Governor Pritzker and others as they honored those who have lost their lives in the line of duty over the last year.
Chicago and Illinois lost one of our very best to one of our very worst.
Police telling us that Superintendent Snelling will provide a full update during a press conference tomorrow morning. He will be joined by Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx and by Mayor Brandon Johnson as they formally announce these new charges. Xavier.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that, okay? So as you guys should know, because I did a video about this before, the family of Officer Huesca is not very fond of Brandon Johnson, okay? They're essentially placing the blame on him for why these tragedies continue to happen, why they're letting these criminals out on the street, even though they have a history of bad behavior and breaking the law. And they ended up disinviting him from the funeral, okay? He tried to come, and they were like, no, we don't want you to come to the funeral, right? So now the mayor was pressed on the issue from a reporter, okay, from NBC, and he ended up running away down an alley and dipping out in one of his vehicles as the reporter was approaching him to ask questions. Now, again, this was at a national prayer event, and as soon as it was done, he basically ran to his vehicle as reporters were chasing him to get answers to their questions.
Mayor Brandon Johnson attended a National Day of Prayer service this morning. Political reporter Marianne Ahern was there to get his reaction to the arrest last night of the suspect in the murder of Chicago police officer Luis Huesca.
Good afternoon. Mayor Johnson spoke at the prayer service event, and we tried afterwards to ask him questions after learning of Xavier Tate's arrest to see what he thought. However, his aides took him out the alley where his car was waiting, and he refused to stop.
Mr. Mayor, will you please wait? Mr. Mayor, why do you have to run from us? Why do you have to run from us, Mr. Mayor?
As you recall, the family requested not only the mayor but also the governor not attend Officer Huesca's funeral on Monday. They felt that politicians had given offenders in general too many chances. Also, as of yet, no statement yet from the mayor's office on Tate's arrest. Marianne Ahern, NBC 5 News.
Our thanks to.
Yeah, so I mean, what is he supposed to say, right? What is he supposed to say? Because, you know, we know in the past, he has essentially taken the side of the young scholars, right? He said, oh, well, you can't demonize these young people, right? When they were committing these riots, these teen takeovers in the streets of Chicago, they said, oh, don't demonize them, okay? And if you're not from Chicago, don't report on Chicago. Don't talk about Chicago, okay? This is what he said. He has essentially tried to deflect all blame and criticism away from these young criminals. So, you know, I don't expect him to have anything to say that is substantive or any type of real substantive criticism of these criminals and the actions that they are partaking in, because he supports it. He doesn't think it's their fault. He thinks that it's the fault of the system, right? It's because they're poor, okay? It's because of white supremacy. It's because of everything having to do with their environment, and it has nothing to do with the choices that they made, okay? So, again, this is why he says you can't demonize them. So, again, I'm not surprised that this guy ran away, right? I'm not surprised at all, because this is the same guy in which there were reports that he was having panic attacks, okay, because of all the criticism he was getting for taking care of the illegal immigrants in Chicago instead of the actual residents and citizens, American citizens. He was apparently having panic attacks and being rushed to the hospital. This is what was reported by local journalists.
But you've seen it. You have seen people, your community starting.
No amount of antidepressants can cure him of this problem.
No. He certainly was feeling the malaise.
I know it. It's so true. And I actually, you brought it up. I was going to bring it up, and I thought,
panic attacks. The mayor's panic attacks? Oh, can we talk about that?
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because two sources told me that he has been in the hospital for these panic attacks, and he is stressed out because this is a big job for him.
He wasn't ready for it.
He's not ready for it. He is not ready for it. He's not a leader. I'm sorry. He's just not a leader.
He's not.
And, a leader, brings people up and supports them. And the Chicago police are still waiting to see where that comes from. But yeah, he put in a good superintendent, but I still think that he needs to prove himself to the police. Where does he stand on that? But this immigration issue, boy, this is not helping him at all, this situation.
So this guy clearly and obviously is not cut out for the job, right? He's not cut out to handle the pressures of being mayor of Chicago. He's just not. And you have more evidence of such. He can't even handle an interview. in which all he has to say is, well, listen, we condemn criminals, we condemn violence, this type of criminal activity, this type of behavior, killing police officers will not be tolerated in the city of Chicago. We will hunt down, arrest, and punish criminals who break the law. We will crack down on crime. All you gotta do is just say things that are common sense. But he can't even do that. He can't even do that because doing that would mean he would have to acknowledge the problem, acknowledge that Chicago does, in fact, have an issue, particularly when it comes to young scholars, right? Young astronauts, young engineers, like this individual out here killing police officers. I mean, how many stories have I done now about Chicago police officers being killed by these young scholars, these young criminals? I've done quite a bit. And it's happening all over the country. And it's because of woke mayors like him, right? It's because of soft on crime policies. These criminals have become emboldened under these Democrats because Democrats have shown that they care more about the well-being and the mental health of criminals more so than they do about law-abiding citizens. They want to coddle the criminals, make them feel safe, make them feel like, no, you're a victim of the system. It's not you. You're not the problem. It's not your bad decisions. It's not your criminal behavior that's the problem. No, it's everybody else. And what is the result of that? The result of that is what you have. Criminals killing police officers. The anti-police rhetoric in this country has resulted in death and violence across the country in these inner liberal cities because nobody wants to sign up to do the job. Nobody wants to sign up. So there's a shortage. Criminals are emboldened because of the rhetoric. They know that police can't really do anything. They know that the police that do try to do things, it doesn't matter because they lock up the criminals and then they let them out immediately afterwards, right? They play catch and release. Give them a slap on the wrist. So, at the end of the day, it's not going to stop until people like Brandon Johnson are voted out. And videos like this are more evidence that, again, this guy is simply not cut out for the job. He's just not built for the position that he's in, okay? He got too much estrogen flowing through his system, man. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. This guy is Charmin Ultra Soft, which, again, is why he's Charmin Ultra Soft with the criminals, because he's soft as a person, as a man. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.